Now, the other kind of damage, which has been collateral since Katrina back in 2005, is the political damage. We know what's going to happen, right? If the federal government's response is not absolutely perfect under this president, there's going to be hell to pay by the Democrats, of course. It's ridiculous, but it's the political reality of dealing with natural disasters in this day and age. Joining me now from Dallas, Texas, co-founder and chief strategist of GDP Advisors, Seth Denson. Seth, it's unfortunate that we're talking about these two kinds of damage, but this is the reality, both physical and political, of our day and age right now. And we hope, obviously, that the damage, both physical and political, is minimal, but I guess you hope for the best and prepare for the worst.
Well, that's exactly right. But I will tell you, it is a sad state when we're in, when we politicize things like natural disasters, that people's lives are absolutely impacted. And unfortunately, there's going to be one side of the political aisle that, while they may not come out and say it, might be politically salivating for something bad to happen as a response so they can capitalize on that. And that's really a shame. Listen, these are people, and it's people that are going to be stepping in to help. Listen, we lived through Harvey here in Texas, and the most amazing part of that was when the American citizen stepped up and did his own part to try to help his fellow man.
Are those people rooting for damage from the storm are the same people that are using the R word? I'm refusing to say it on this program ever again, because I'm not going to be part of this nonsense that the mainstream media, the drum it's beating. The R word, we're not allowed to use the full word, but these are the same people that are rooting for an R to strike the U.S. economy. And speaking of the environment and the U.S. economy, methane, if you recall during the 8 years of Obama, methane, even though it's a naturally occurring gas, naturally occurring substance, and part of our existence on planet Earth, methane suddenly has been deemed evil by the radical left and the environmental crazies, the green crowd, and by Team Obama. And of course, Team Obama implemented many regulations to try and ostensibly curtail methane gas, much to the chagrin of cows. But now we have the Trump administration coming along and undoing that and making a more bovine-friendly policy, if you will.
Yeah, I think what the Trump administration is trying to do is recognize until we can really define the true damage of things, let's not restrict the American economic system and how it operates. And so it's really looking at, how do we define the damage that is done by methane through the Clean Air Act and what's going on there. And so, it's good to see that the president's kind of saying, all right, let's be realistic about some things before we just kind of jump on the bandwagon here.
All right, so the economy is showing some signs of possibly slowing down. GDP has been lowered now, the estimate to 2%, I believe, for the entire year now. We have home sales dropping a little bit. This is not the end of the world, but we can't look at it in a vacuum. We have the situation with China and the United States trying to negotiate a trade deal. It's interesting. Do you believe now that the Chinese have blinked? Because they said they're not going to match one for one the tariffs that the Trump administration put on. Do you think we're at a new paradigm here?
I'm certainly hopeful. And listen, we've said for a long time that the Chinese will respond to strength. And the Trump administration is showing that. This is an issue that's been going on for decades, and I'm glad to see that the president is taking on this issue of how China operates from an economic manner as it relates to things like innovation. And so I'm hopeful that China is blinking a little bit, that the strength that the president is showing is going to pay off. It certainly appears that it is now, but let's be very clear. China has a lot more to lose in all of this than the United States does.
Right, and they're hurting a heck of a lot more than the U.S. economy is as well. And that's probably one of the reasons why they're heading back to the bargaining table right now. Seth, thanks.